All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. On behalf of the developer team and the platform evangelism team, we're really glad to have you here. My name's Steve Guggenheimer. Most people call me Googs. Steve is the other guy that was on stage, and we don't like to be confused. At least I don't. And Guggenheimer is a little hard to pronounce. I've been around Microsoft for about 18 years, and I spent the last 5 years working on the hardware ecosystem. All the OEMs, ODMs, and really helping bring what I think is an inflection point in the hardware industry to life with Windows 8. Now, the thing about the hardware ecosystem is it doesn't come to life until the software's there. And the applications you build and what you do really brings the hardware to life. It's the marriage of hardware and software. You'll have more opportunities this week to see all of the PCs on these back tables. There's Acer, Asus, Sony, Toshiba, Dell, HP, Lenovo, Samsung. They're all there, and they're phenomenal different devices. I want to take just a few minutes now and sort of tee up this week. There's literally hundreds of sessions. You guys are going to dive in deep. I want to show you a few applications that people have been working on and how they bring to life that marriage of hardware and software and services in some cases. So I'm going to start off. Steve showed off the new Surface device, so I've got one here. I'm going to bring up a game called Agent P. Okay, this is a game built by Disney. Disney has a lot of attributes, as you can imagine, in content. This comes from their Phineas and Ferb show. If you have a kid between, I'd say, about 7 and 12, you've watched a lot of this in the background. Mine are 14 and 15, so I went through about 3 years of this. Very popular game. It's one of the #1, I think it is the #1 title on television today in the animated series. Very simple game. It's kind of fun. You basically go around. Agent P's job is to rescue the other agents. So basically, you sort of collect coins for a while, and then at some point, you run into a robot, you rip his arms off, you shoot the robot down. After you shoot him down, you go and unleash your friends who are stuck in cages. They actually kennel train the other agents, is what I learned in this game. Now, the nice thing with Windows to start with is obviously Disney has a lot of HTML and JavaScript code around. They've done a lot of websites, they've done a lot of applications and games, so they were able to take an existing set of code and very quickly to bring this to Windows 8. They really liked Windows 8 because with the hardware acceleration, they got a great experience. As you can see, super responsive game, fun to play with, easy to build. But the nice thing then is you get that marriage of hardware and software and the things that come along with Windows. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Surface device, I'm going to click in, as the ad says, and you've probably seen that one by now. And immediately, now I'm playing Phineas and Ferb on the keyboard. So I can do that. If I press the space bar, I can bring up my shield, and that's how I rip robot arms off, just in case you wanted to know how to do that. So good stuff. But let's take this a step further. With the Windows ecosystem, there are literally hundreds of thousands of devices you can plug into the hardware. And that actually leads to millions and millions of peripherals. Now, here's a good example of a game controller. I can take this game controller on this Windows RT device. I'm going to plug it into the USB port. Okay, I'm going to give it a second or two to register. You'll see in the Xbox, the green ring sort of takes a second as it recognizes. And then immediately, I can take advantage of this peripheral. And now I can play Mr. Phineas, or Agent P here with the Xbox controller. Thank you. Literally, just a little bit of extra code to do that. Let's take it a step further. This device, I'm actually running the screens off an HDMI out. So take this tablet, any category of Windows tablet, I can now take this thing, hook it to my television or my screen with an HDMI out. Now I can sit there with my game controller, my tablet, the television, and be playing. Very cool experience, and sort of all comes built in terms of that output. One more step. Now, something that kids would do in terms of services, sort of mixing and matching services and software, what kids might do, and I know mine would, is they'd go in and they'd pull up Skype. All right? Our Skype team has rewritten Skype from the ground up. Use C++ at the core because you need a really robust system when you're handling literally hundreds of millions of users, but also HTML on the front end to make a good, rich experience. I'm going to call Gonez, who's backstage. She was one of our student evangelists who's now working at Microsoft. Nice little transition there. Wait for Gonez to come up. Hi, Gonez. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, Googs. How are you?
Good, good. I'm going to use you for a little demo, so you just hang on. She's going to type some emoticons in the back, and you'll see how those sort of render on top of the screen, which is real nice. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to dock, my Skype session. Then I'm going to go back to start. I'm going to bring the game back up. And now in the same screen, I've got my game playing. I'm monitoring out to the big screen. I've got my Skype session. It's exactly what your 12, 14, 15-year-old kid's going to want to do. Let me switch the camera around. Camera's facing you now. So really cool marriage. Software, services, hardware together. Takes the best of some of the existing code. Disney has not just this application coming. They're working on Where's My Water. We're working on a couple of other titles that they've been at. They've got a lot of content. So great example, taking some of the existing HTML and JavaScript they have today, bringing it to Windows 8, mixing, matching hardware and software and services for a great outcome. Really happy with what they've done. We're really thankful for the work there. Let me switch gears now. Let's go to the exact other end of the spectrum. We'll move away from the kids, kids playing games, and let's go to code that already exists. There are literally, again, hundreds of thousands, millions of Windows applications already built. They all run on Windows 8. This is a Windows 8 all-in-one. This is sort of a special all-in-one. This one is running, in this case, Autodesk. This is the AutoCAD program. Running it as is, keyboard and mouse, set to go. This machine is an HP workstation. And what HP did is they took their workstation and turned it into an all-in-one. So instead of having a big rig on the side, it's all here in the machine. And in fact, to show you that, I'm going to lay this down. And one of the cool things about this one is actually I can open it up while it's running. And you can see it's a quad Xeon processor. It's an NVIDIA high-end card. I could actually pull that optical drive out, hot swap it. So it's truly a working class machine. If I move the mouse around, you see it's still going. Very cool. All of your existing Windows 7 applications just run. There's lots of different ways and form factors you might run them on. Now, this is an example as a developer. Would I turn that application immediately over to something that, would run in touch and do everything else with? I might do the touch upgrades, but I might not rewrite the whole thing. So what these guys did, what Autodesk did, is they said, okay, how can I build a complementary application? How do I sort of marry what I already have with something new? So I'm going to move over to this new Sony Vaio. This is, again, some of the new class of machines. And what I'm going to do here is first I'm going to pull up the same app, right? So you can imagine I leave my work studio, my design studio, whatever you want to call it. I go out, I'm going to go see a customer. I stop by the coffee shop. Of course, I can use this machine like any other laptop, and I could be editing and working away. Now, of course, I could grab the file from SkyDrive, so I never had to go and save it or take a thumb drive around on SkyDrive, and I just hooked that into the application. If I go to open, let me see if I can grab that. You'll notice there's the SkyDrive, and I can go into my Autodesk assets, so that part's pretty easy. Now, when I go out to see the customer, I might not want to sit there with my laptop open, trying to work on AutoCAD here, have them over my shoulder. That might not be a great interaction mechanism. So what we've done is, first off, I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to switch to a sketch application. Right? Now, the Sony comes with this active capacitive pencil. What Autodesk did is they built this sketch application, which is kind of the perfect thing to sit there with a customer, and I can take notes. It's got a real nice pen here. If I wanted to do some coloring, I could pick a paintbrush, and I could color in some of the things. So this is an example where I take an existing application, whether I build a complementary service or a complementary application like this. It's a nice way to bring together the two worlds, and I get that differentiation point. I met with a bunch of financial services companies in New York last week, and several of them are thinking in that way. How do I take sort of some back-end processing and stuff that we do for a living, but build a nice front end that's easy to do, take advantage of HTML and JavaScript and what I can do in the UI, and really build something that helps my application differentiate. So sort of opposite end of the spectrum, a lot of fun. By the way, so I don't forget, because I did earlier, that Phineas and Ferb app, just real quick, I'll pull up my phone. If I wanted to play that same application, because again, it's sort of the same JavaScript HTML engine, I can actually run that same application on the phone here. And so you can see off I go. And so again, with very little work, able to port the application to the phone. So again, I've got all of the capabilities. I cut across all the devices. I can go from sort of big devices into portable devices. I can go from my portable device to the phone. It all works very well together. Now, the last thing I want to do is talk a little bit about economics and monetization. Right? This is another one of the RT slates. This is a Samsung slate. There's a couple things we've been working on. First off, with the store itself, which is now open in Windows 8 and Windows Phone 8, you have the opportunity to build your applications and put them up there. You can use your own economics engine in Windows 8, but at the same time, if you use our engine, 70% of the revenue goes to you, and on both the PC and the phone. And then on Windows 8 and Windows RT, when you get to $25,000, that percentage goes to 80% from then forward. So you get phenomenal opportunity in terms of the core economics. And again, you can use your own engine if you want for economics, in which case you take 100%. Now, that's part of the opportunity, is just selling applications in the store. But we're starting to do more learning around commerce in terms of in-app advertising and in-app sales. So let me go to both examples. Let me go on this device here. Let me go to travel. I'm going to take one of the Bing apps here. And you'll notice as I scroll all the way over to the right, there's an app sitting there on the right side. And we've done a lot of work in terms of understanding how to build, I'll just say, a tile into an application, and that's an ad that can be resold. Our advertising engine supports that. If you use Visual Studio, you can hook it in directly. And of course, you could use your own in-app advertising as well. So getting smarter and better about how we do advertising in apps is going to become important. When I go out and talk to developers who have written websites that they monetize today on PCs, part of the learning that's going on mobile devices is how, when I turn that into an application, do I monetize it? Does it do as well? How do I do as good a job? So one of the things we want to do with Windows, as we have all these form factors, is allow not just the traditional website advertising, but both in-app ads, using your own ad engine or our app engine, or in-app commerce. So I'm going to go back to the main screen here, and I'm going to pull up Fish with Attitude. Some of you might be aware of this game. If you have kids and you unlock your credit card, there's a lot of learning you can do about how quickly kids can spend money. I'm gonna go into the store here, and what this app allows you to do is use real money to buy, in this case, treasure to be used in the game. So if I want to go buy the chest of pearls, I'm going to go in here, it's loading, and you'll notice here I can use the Microsoft Payment Engine. And the Microsoft Payment Engine is available for end users in about 200 plus countries and 100 plus languages. As developers, you get paid out in about 80 different currencies and submit in about 140 different countries. So there's a huge, global opportunity there. But there are third parties. So one of the things PayPal done is they're building the opportunity to use PayPal and the API set, so you can actually use PayPal from within an app, and you can see it's up and running here. In the next couple of weeks, it'll be released for you. So now you can use our in-app commerce engine, you can use PayPal, you can use your own in-app commerce engine. So if you look across the spectrum, phone to Windows 8 to Windows RT, right, paying from the store using your engine, using ours, in-app advertising, in-app payment, we're trying to cover the broadest spectrum and really give you the opportunity to monetize and make money off of all these phenomenal platforms that are coming. Literally 400 million or so PCs that'll ship this year, or hundreds of millions that'll ship plus, people upgrading. So a lot of good work there, a lot of opportunity. Last thing I want to do is bring up one more application. One of the things Steve talked about was reimagining Windows, reimagining the hardware. We are starting to see developers starting to reimagine their software and their applications. So the next application is one developed by somebody who has a phenomenal set of assets in scorekeeping or scores, in video content, in magazine content. And what they did is they started from the ground up in terms of how could they take all of their existing assets and build a brand new application. That application is ESPN. I'm going to invite Michael Bale to come out here and join me because I think he's better suited to show this off. Hi, Michael. Good morning.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
I got a chance to look at this. Can you show the audience the new ESPN application?
We are super excited to be here. What an amazing event. I actually believe we can host an NBA expansion team in this very tent on the off chance that Steve might be looking for a location. So, as Steve mentioned, I wanted to spend just a minute with you all walking you through our Windows 8 journey and to introduce you our ESPN app for Windows 8. At ESPN, we share Steve's passion for sports fans in striving to provide them the content, the multimedia-rich information they seek anywhere, anytime, and on any device. Today, if a fan wants to access our real-time sports center, we have that application. However, if fans want to access our news, in-depth analysis, audio casts, photos, videos, they have to access it via our websites. The new Windows 8 platform has offered us a chance to reimagine the user experience. The ESPN app for Windows 8 will aggregate our content into one application: Score Center, news, audio casts, video, radio, and more, all just a tap away. Furthermore, our experience takes full advantage of Windows 8 platform, using functionality like Snap View, Semantic Zoom, Live Tiles, and Deep Pinning. We are putting that user in control, providing a personalized experience that is uniquely their own. The new ESPN app for Windows 8 will offer fans an unparalleled sports experience, and without the collaboration with Microsoft, we could not have done this. With that, I am thrilled to give you all a first public look at the ESPN app on Windows 8. By the way, much of the content you'll see is powered by our new APIs, many of which are publicly available at developer.espn.com. As soon as you launch the app, fans are going to see a completely personalized hub experience, synced with their ESPN preferences, with instant access to scores, headlines, and highlights. We're giving fans a deeper sports experience than ever before. With the ESPN magazine, a suite of ESPN podcasts that can be played throughout the app, and extensive photo galleries. We're able to put all this content in one place, deep pinning of specific sports and teams. Browse the whole app, or with Semantic Zoom, go straight to the content you care most about. Listen to your favorite ESPN podcasts, including Mike and Mike, PTI, and the BS Report with Bill Simmons. Global navigation makes navigating the app fluid and easy. Fans can follow real-time scores and stats at Score Center. The Lead, on the other hand, provides fans with the latest news and well as in-depth journalism, from ESPN magazine. Snap View allows sports fans to follow the content no matter what else they're doing. The ESPN app allows fans to follow what they care most about, whether at work, on the bus, or at home. As you can see, the ESPN app for Windows 8 is an all-inclusive app that gives access to information and leading content from the worldwide leader in sports. It's our mission to serve sports fans anytime, anywhere, on the best possible platforms in the most innovative ways, and we're excited to launch today the ESPN app on Windows 8. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you for joining us. I had a chance to play with that app last Friday. I'll tell you, that thing's going to live snapped on the right side. It's a great app. Thank you all so much for coming. You know, our partners are starting to build some great apps. All of you are starting to build some great apps. You know, we're really excited about what's going to go on. Lots of sessions this week. The Microsoft campus is here to welcome you. We've got a lot of developers who are going to be around to help, and they just want to interact. So have a great time. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you later. Thanks, man.
People are writing some apps for this thing, and that's kind of what I wanted to come back and talk to you about. Here are some of the applications being written or already in our store, which had its grand opening last week. In sports, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, Fitbit, TBS is coming, Entertainment Weekly, Time, People Magazine will be out with the next issue, with Next Issue Media. Disney's Where's My Water, Where's My Perry, and Temple Run Brave coming to the Windows platform. Travel, Expedia will come later this year. And two things I want to note that both have announced. SAP has said that they are bringing their applications to the Windows 8 environment, and Dropbox just announced its intention in the last few days to also bring its capabilities to the Windows 8 environment. And we welcome all of these software developers and many, 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 many more in the audience here and across the webcast. I had a chance, as you know, to go backstage for a few minutes. I was checking out Twitter, and guess what I found up there on Twitter today? Go ahead and click, please. I found this tweet. Windows 8 needs a great Twitter app, so we're building it. Looking forward to sharing it with you in the months ahead. This morning, Twitter announced that they, too, will move forward with Windows 8 development. I know we've spent a lot of time talking to them about the wonderful ways to use live tiles, to use sharing, to use account integration. One of the things I didn't have a chance to show you is with the built-in People application in our system, and through the magic of what we call Live Connect, you can actually connect, at least some applications we have the ability to connect directly into the system. So when I put my son or my wife and I pin them to my desktop, I can connect that to Facebook, to Twitter, to all of these sources of activity. And I think the work that Twitter announced this morning to bring the Twitter application to Windows 8 will be some of the kind of most important in terms of really highlighting and showcasing some of these modern capabilities that we had a chance to talk about earlier. So Twitter, SAP, and Dropbox all announcing today and joining with enthusiasm the kind of crowd that's here in the audience today in terms of enthusiasm around Windows 8. Why write for Windows 8? You can do better applications. You can put those applications across a variety of form factors, including the phone. You can have what I think are the best commercial terms on the planet, as Googs had a chance to describe earlier. But at the end of the day, it also takes volume. You're going to want to see the opportunity, whether you're writing an app as an individual developer, or whether you work for a big company, whether you're trying to do something that is for consumers, for businesses, whether you're trying to do something that is ad-funded, or commerce-funded, or app-funded, or not funded at all, just a customer service for your business, for the people that it serves. The key is that, in fact, a lot of people will use that application. We have an installed base of 670 million people, machines, on Windows 7. Windows 8 takes less resource than Windows 7. Every one of those 670 million is a potential Windows 8 upgrade. And as he said earlier, in just the last 3 days, 4 million people, 4 million sales have moved that direction. Second, we don't know what will happen with the trajectory in the next year of the PC market. I think with the addition of Windows 8, with these incredible new form factors that are tablets and PCs, I think we're going to see a lot of growth and vitality and explosion in the PC market. But if the PC market just stayed relatively flat to current expectations, there'll be 400 million new Windows devices that you can target with your application. Microsoft Account, SkyDrive, Search, Share, Live Tiles, Pinning, available for sure to another 400 million machines around the planet. Windows Phone. I think most folks in the room know Windows Phone today is a small volume player. But we have the most differentiated approach to the market. We have absolutely killer hardware. And there's just going to be a lot of those hundreds of millions of Windows users who really want a Windows Phone. And so I think the opportunity there is also excellent. On top of that, I make you a commitment. We will do more marketing and better marketing for Windows 8 systems, for Windows Phone. For Windows 8 systems, for Windows Phones, and for Surfaces, you will see our best work, and you will not be able to pick up a magazine, go to the internet, or turn on a television set without seeing one of our ads really quite frequently. This is a market that will explode. This is a market in which you can do your best work, your most innovative work, your most creative work. This is a market where you really have an opportunity to make money for yourselves, to make money for your company, to make money for your shareholders, whoever you are and whatever you do as a developer, whether you're working in a big team or a small team, Windows 8 is the best opportunity for software developers today. Hundreds of millions of people just aching to use your applications, just dying to buy your application, just dying to become involved with your company on a live, active, searchable basis. I know the folks in this room must be interested or you wouldn't be here. But I guarantee you this will be the best opportunity software developers will see as hundreds of millions of new machines go out with the potential of billions and billions of new applications being sold. So I really want us to build together. We need your support. We need your commitment. You can count on us to stand behind the product and do whatever we can for you from a developer support perspective. So for those of you in the room, not those of you on the webcast, for your extra effort and extra energy and to show you that you really have our full support, it is my pleasure to let you know that every Build attendee will get 100 gigabytes of SkyDrive storage for free. Come on, that's 100 gigabytes. Now you're saying, what's with this dude? Man, does he want us to believe that he's in? 100 gigabytes of SkyDrive storage? Mwah! But I want the guy to show us he's really in and he really thinks there's a big opportunity. So, when you go pick up your 100 gigabyte of SkyDrive storage, which is a little card with a code on it, you'll also have a chance to pick up a Microsoft Surface RT. Hold on. Here's the deal. you got to make me two promises. Number one, please go out and write lots of applications. And number two, since you can't pick them up to 7 o'clock tonight, stay seated and don't run and start trying to pick them up now, okay? Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of Build.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Director of Program Management, Windows Phone, Kevin Gallo.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Gallo. Actually, I think it's a great morning after that announcement, right? So, I'm Kevin Gallo. I work on the developer platform team. And I'm pleased to spend a few moments with you today to tell you about some of the new features coming to Windows Phone 8, and also how you as developers can continue to get great return on your investment with as you build Windows Phone 8 apps. I want to cover 4 topics today. First of all, I want to introduce you to Windows Phone 8. Then I want to show you how you can develop apps for both Windows and Windows Phone. I'll then talk about some of the new features coming to the Windows Phone 8 platform, and then I'll close talking about some of the advancements we've made in native games. Let me start at the beginning. Windows Phone 8 is the smartphone reinvented around you. We believe it is the most personal phone on the market. We've added more colors, better live tiles, and a ton of new features that allow people to create a phone that is as unique as their fingerprint. So the best way for me to introduce you to Windows Phone 8 is to introduce you to my Windows Phone 8. Like many of you, I have many roles in life. I'm a father, a husband, an employee, a boss. Well, not actually at home. That role is my wife's, Jessica. And to be honest with you, I'm not even second in command. That role is my daughter, Kara, who's 17 years old. And as you can see, they have premium spots on my start screen. To keep myself sane, I play games, so they're always front and center. One of the things I love about my wife is her sense of humor. So I make sure that her funny messages, her Facebook posts, and pictures are always in sight. I'm also an avid football fan, and I love the Dallas Cowboys. And so I want to make sure that well, I always want to make sure I can get the scores, even if they're not so good like last Sunday, because I guess both Steve and I have had a rough week in sports. So, what I love about Windows Phone 8 is that it improves on what I also always have loved about Windows Phone. It keeps me connected to the people and things I care about. Let me show you what I mean. One of the features that we showed at our launch yesterday in San Francisco is Kid Corner. Most of us have kids in our life, whether it's our children, nieces and nephews, neighbors, maybe cousins. And at some point in time, if you had a smartphone, these kids have gotten their hands on it, and you were lucky if all you got was locked out of Exchange. But for me and many of you, we've had untimely text messages or phone calls go to friends or coworkers, and you had to explain saying, hey, they were supposed to be playing Angry Birds, they've hit the back button, and got themselves into trouble. Well, Windows Phone tackles this problem by providing a special place just for kids. That way they can watch music, play games, play their apps, maybe watch a video, and not get into trouble. This is essentially a phone inside of a phone, defined by you and customized by them. This is already a big hit in my house. We also introduced a feature we call Rooms. This is where you can gather groups of people where they can share notes or pictures or a calendar and keep it private, not with the whole Facebook crowd, but just in that group. This is perfect for your closest friends and ideal for families. My wife and I use this to make sure that I don't miss any sporting or school events, which saves me years of counseling down the road, or even worse, a lecture from that 17-year-old daughter of mine who makes sure I attend everything I'm supposed to. These are just two of the features that we announced at our launch event yesterday. If you missed it, you can go online and get the full tour from Joe Belfiore. So now that you can see why consumers are excited about Windows Phone 8, since we're all developers here, let's talk about the platform. As you can see, we're combining an array of new hardware, tools, and technologies to deliver a fundamentally reimagined Windows platform. It's a new era in technology, one characterized by ubiquitous mobile devices with experiences that transition seamlessly across the many devices people use in their day-to-day lives. With Windows Phone and Windows 8, we are delivering the right platform at the right time to deliver on the needs of mobile consumers. Windows will be on new hardware, share a common and familiar UI, and also integrate with a common set of back-end cloud services. For Windows Phone 8, what you are seeing is the culmination of years of planning and engineering, all designed to create an unprecedented opportunity for developers. We now share a common programming model which will allow you as developers to innovate faster because you can reuse code as you build apps for Windows and Windows Phone. I am thrilled, so thrilled, to announce today the release of the Windows Phone 8 developer platform. You can now go, it is live right now, to dev.windowsphone.com and download the Windows Phone 8 SDK. It includes a free version of Visual Studio 2012 and Blend 5, as well as a complete set of emulators. And with our new Dev Center, you have all the tools and resources you need to start building great apps designed specifically for Windows Phone 8. So now let me move on and talk and show you how you can start building apps that work on both Windows and Windows Phone. Back in June, I talked about how Windows Phone 8 was a foundational release because we now share a common core with Windows. On top of this common core, we have a common API set. You can now build shared components that are identical for both Windows and Windows Phone and use them inside of those apps. Now, since I'm a dev, and most of you are devs, rather than show you pretty little pictures and talk out here, let's do it the right way and how it's really done in life and look at it in Visual Studio. Sam and Bharath are going to join me on stage to show you this app running before I go and jump into Visual Studio so you know what the app is. So Bharath has it here running on his tablet, and Sam has it on his phone. What this app is, it's a picture-sharing app, and they've already paired the phone and tablet using NFC. So Bharath here is going to select a photo, because he's got some shots, he likes them, he thinks they're cool, and he's going to flick, and it's going to show up on Sam's phone. Now, Sam thinks he's a good photographer as well, and he's got some maybe better shots, so he's going to select one. He's also going to flick the same gesture, and you'll see it show up here on the tablet. Thank you, guys. Pretty simple concept, right? Well, it was actually even easier to build because we could reuse so much code. So let's start here right now in Visual Studio. And as you can see, I have 3 projects. The first one here is my UI built for Windows Phone 8. This one here is my UI for Windows 8. I decided to build a UI that was tailored to the form factor. This third one here is actually a shared code library written in C# that runs on both the phone and the tablet. This has all the guts of the app, including the connection management, the photo sharing, and all those pieces. And that one's identical for both. So if I hit F5 here, you'd see the exact same app run. Well, when Bharath saw this app, he remembered that about 10 years ago when he was in college, that he had written a photo, image editing app that had some filters in it that allowed him to do some image processing on the photos. And he thought, well, hey, I wonder how hard it would be to port that over and integrate that into this application. So he went and did that. It was actually written in C++, so we wrapped it as a Windows runtime component so I could call it from my C#. End to end, it took him 30 minutes to get all that code integrated and running here. And if I scroll down, you'll see there's a couple of the filters right here already added to the project. Now, I want to show you how easy it is for us to take that code, which took half an hour to put in here, and integrate it back into my application. So let me go right here. And first of all, let me include the reference to the component that I'm going to use. And then I'm going to insert a function that I've already written here. That way I don't type it wrong. But let me explain what this function does. It's pretty simple. First thing we do here is we take the actual image and we decode the JPEG into a bitmap. Then we actually call the code that Bharath had ported over and integrated in here. You can see it's a very simple call. We pass in the bitmap, and then it applies the filter to it. Then we re-encode that bitmap as a JPEG. And so if I hit F5 right here, you'll see this start up in our new Hyper-V-based Windows Phone emulator. I'll select the photo. We had added an extra button to the UI to actually call this code. And as you see, I press it, it actually applied a grayscale filter to the photo. So let me terminate that. Now I want to show you that I can reuse the exact same code throughout the project inside of Windows 8. So I'll just change my starter project to Windows 8, and I'll be running in the simulator. I'll hit F5, and it comes up here inside of Windows 8. I'll select the photo here. I'll bring up the UI. I'll click the button, and this function calls the exact same code that we wrote and that Bharath had written to apply this grayscale filter. So as you can see, not only can we share code, you can write code that can be shared between Windows and Windows Phone, but you can easily integrate code from other sources. In this case, it was code written 10 years ago in C++ for a school project. Now I want to move on and talk about some of the new features coming to the Windows Phone 8 platform. The best part of my job, by far, is that I get to talk to developers like you and find out what you need to build great apps. Of course, you're not shy in letting us know what you need. Well, we heard you, and today we're delivering. See, all these are the features that we've been adding to the platform over the last release. I want to highlight a lot of them there. I want to highlight a few. You asked us to make it easier to build fast and fluid UI. We delivered. We're adding more controls to the platform, and we've dramatically improved the performance of the existing controls. Your apps will be noticeably faster when you use them. You asked to be able to do more with live tiles. We delivered. We now support live tiles in 3 sizes. We also allow you to show notifications on the lock screen, and you can create and update the wallpaper of the phone directly from within your application. You asked for speech support. We now support having full conversations in your app. So not only can you launch apps, but you can control them using speech. You've asked for us to improve our dev center and store. We've streamlined our store. It is now more efficient to submit and update your apps, and you have more ways to monetize your apps in our store. You asked for deeper integration with the phone experiences. We delivered. We've opened up our camera, and now we support a feature we call lenses. You asked for better multitasking. We support location-based applications running in the background, as well as first-class support for VoIP and video chat. You asked for us to improve and give you advanced networking capability. We've heard your requests for Bluetooth data transfer, peer networking with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, as well as Proximity Connect with NFC. Our response is done, done, and done. In total, we've delivered on over 90% of the top developer requests, and over the next few days, you will be able to have over 20 sessions to go into detail about how to use these in your apps. Now, I want to move on and have a little bit of fun. And at the same time, we'll use some of the features I just talked about. So Sam and Tim are going to join me on stage. This is an AR drone quadcopter. It comes with a native code library that allows communication with it. So what Tim did is Tim built an app. He built out the front end in XAML, and he uses this library to connect and talk to the drone. So the app will come up in a minute here. So here you see the app. Tim is going to hit connect, and this will actually establish, using Windows runtime sockets, communication with the drone. Now, I know a couple of you guys are thinking out there, hey, can I hack this thing? Can I take control and have a little bit of fun with Sam and Tim? Yeah, I know. No, we've locked it down. Nobody can do that. Only they can control it. Please don't try. So now he's going to press launch, and it will take off and hover. This actually has a camera mounted to the front, and you can see the actual live feed of it going right as the background of the phone as Tim controls it. Now, our lawyers wouldn't let us fly a helicopter over a live audience, and I'm sure you probably appreciate that. So we're just going to pan it back and forth and get a good look at all of you. Cool. Thank you very much, Tim. Now that we've had a little bit of fun, let's move on and talk about native games. Over 75% of the top grossing apps are games. With Windows Phone 8, Microsoft now has a common gaming platform across the entire Windows family. We support C++ code, which allows you to write high-performance physics engine, as well as audio libraries, and you get access to low-level, hardware-accelerated APIs like Direct3D, with fully programmable shader support, both pixel and vertex shaders. So what does that mean? Well, basically, take a Dramamine and buckle your seatbelt type games are coming to Windows Phone 8. Our store is now global in 191 countries. We also now support in-app purchase for both consumables, like in-game currency, and durables, like game levels. We have more ways to make money on the Windows Phone 8 platform. Over half of all games use gaming middleware in some way. Back in June, I announced support for some of the gaming middleware providers. Since then, many more have announced support for both Windows and Windows Phone because it is so easy to develop for both. One in particular that I want to highlight today is Unity. Please join me in welcoming EVP of Business Development from Unity, Tony Garcia. Welcome. Tony's going to show us the first ever demo of the Unity gaming engine running on a Windows Phone.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. I'm really excited to be here today to showcase Unity support for Windows 8 and Windows Phone 8, as well as the entire Windows 8 ecosystem. You know, Unity brings its own ecosystem of game developers and games to the Windows family. We're not only the #1 mobile game engine, but I think we're also the fastest gaming engine, fastest growing gaming engine. Unity makes it easy to build great games, and this is made possible by our integrated IDE. It's kind of a best in class, and we allow integration of other third-party middleware, such as Fmod, for audio support. In addition to that, we have our own integrated scripting engine, which allows you to build game logic. You know, it's been great to work with the teams here at Microsoft. Because of the shared architecture between the two platforms, actually building support for Windows 8 has been super easy. I'd like to introduce Corey Johnson, who works with me here at Unity, and help me show you a practical demo of what it's like to build a game for Windows Phone inside of Unity. Here we are showing a scene from our popular third-person shooter game, and it's called Shadowgun, and it's actually running inside the Unity IDE. Now, using the IDE, you can manipulate game objects, you can modify scripts, which change game behavior or overall gameplay. You can see he's scrolling around and moving live inside the project. Now, we can run this scene inside the Unity preview window, and that makes it really easy to debug locally on the PC. Let him play around here. Now, we can actually run this game inside the Unity preview window, and as he's running it, you can be making changes and modifying the game live. Now we're going to deploy the game to the Windows Phone device. We select Build for Windows Phone 8 to create a Visual Studio project for the game. Take a couple of seconds here. Now, once Unity has outputted the Visual Studio project, you can actually customize this game to create special features like live tile integration for Windows phones. So we deploy the game using Visual Studio and can now run it on the actual device. So we'll just let him do that, and then we can switch over. And what we'll do is we'll show you live on a device running the actual game that he just deployed. And there it is. Pretty cool. As you can see, Unity brings a top-notch game development IDE as well as AAA graphics to Windows phones. And by the way, this very same deployment method can be used for Win 8 slates. So we're super excited about bringing Unity to Windows Phone and Windows 8, and we can't wait to see a ton of great Unity games on these fantastic new devices. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Now, you remember when I told you that you had everything you needed to start building great games and apps for Windows Phone 8? Well, that wasn't entirely correct. I want to invite one more guest to join me on stage. Richard Karras from Nokia.
Hey, welcome, Richard. Thanks. Some amazing stuff here this morning. Wow, I am just blown away. I'd like to show you this. This is the Lumia 920. I haven't even said anything yet. This is the device everybody's talking about. With PureView technology, it's got stabilization, optical stabilization. It can take photos in low light and look great with blur-free. You can view it on the PureMotion HD display, even in bright sunlight. All sorts of stuff comes with it, with services, maps that work, music, all sorts of great things. And we think it's the best phone that we at Nokia have ever made. And we're really excited that customers are going to be getting it very soon. But we think developers should get it first. What do you think? So you got all this great stuff. I want you to commit that you're going to build some great apps. And we'll commit to giving you a Nokia Lumia 920. What do you say? You're right, Alvin. Yeah. I want the people in Helsinki to hear you. All right. Thank you. Everybody's getting a Lumia 920 phone, okay? So develop some great apps. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see it. Thanks, everybody.
How awesome is that? Now that you have your Windows Phone, you really do have everything you need to start building great apps and games for Windows Phone 8. But there's one more thing we want to do, because when you build your apps, you also want to be able to get them into our store. And we know that not everybody can be here and not everybody's getting a phone. What we're going to do is we're going to reduce the individual registration for our Dev Center from the normal $99 to $8 for the next 8 days. So we're calling it 8 for 8. So now once you build the apps, you can get them into the marketplace and get them into the hands of end users. So, in closing, go install the Windows Phone 8 SDK from dev.windowsphone.com, get your phone, again later tonight, and write amazing apps. Thank you very much.